I was raised by my grandparents, came out of parents that had drug and alcohol addiction. I started getting into some trouble, mostly with boyfriends, running around, sneaking out, those type of things. I had been getting in enough trouble that my grandparents asked me to move out. So Wes came into my life. I worked at a little pizzeria, Alfano's, in Knoxville, Illinois. He was a Coca-Cola delivery driver that chose to hang out with me an hour or 2 hours on his route every day. And we had kind of been talking and seeing each other. So I called Wes and he said, well, why don't you move in with me? I became pregnant within 8 months. He married me when I was 8 months pregnant with Ethan. Within a few more months, less than a year after that, I was pregnant with Trinity. And so it kind of went on from there that we tried to make things right on our own accord, and things just kept increasingly getting worse. Things kind of came to a head and I kicked him out. I told him I was done. This was not going to happen and I needed to care about the kids and he needed to grow up and all of these things. So we moved across the street. One night when we had missed each other a lot and our judgments were definitely down, we were together and Trinity was only 4 months old and I became pregnant with Gabe. I was 7 months pregnant with Gabe and I remember on the stand wanting to scream out to the judge when he asked me, is there anything that you can do to reconcile? Is there anything you can do? And everything in me wanted to say, well, we could choose Jesus and we could go to counseling and we can make this work. But what really had happened is we built a kingdom of our own. And God wasn't a part of that. And that needed to fall, and that's what was happening. And it felt like death. I grieved about that quite a bit. Wes, he recalls a night that he went back to the trailer, the night that he longed for, no kids. I wasn't there, and he could do whatever he wanted to, and he felt that loneliness, and he heard God speak to him, and in that moment, he repented. Within 10 months of our divorce, we were walking back down the aisle, and we were walking down the aisle to Amazing Grace. I remember the Lord steadying my heart that day, that I was trusting God, that everything that we had built had fallen and was dead, and God was restoring something new, and he was a part of that. And that Wes and I, we don't work without Jesus. We don't work without Christ. We were introduced as the restored Stockham family. Jeremy, which is one of my really close friends, had came to Bridgeway at one time. So they were pursuing going to a church and growing in the things of God. And I was just like, we're neighbors. I want to go where they're going. Wes was like, okay, let's go where they're going. Because at that time we hadn't found anything that was really fitting. So we ended up coming to Bridgeway, but knowing I was all in and I was never going to not say yes to God. And then it turned into Pastor Jeff coming to me, I believe that next Sunday, and saying, I think I have something to talk to you about. And then it was 2 weeks later, I was being asked to be the family ministries pastor here at Bridgeway Community Church. I was absolutely humbled because my heart is for family. I've always wanted a family. I've always wanted a good family. And not only has God opened up the door for me to be a part of having a healthy family and learning what that looks like and walking through that and growing, but also on top of that has allowed and entrusted me to help and to mentor and to pray for and to walk alongside other families. He moves so in and out of people with that spirit of adoption. I just love that.